Live from Fleetown, USA in Forest City, North Carolina. Hi there, folks. This is Corky Carricker, and you're listening to the Flea Market Guide Podcast, brought to you by TheFleaMarketGuide.com, the show that brings you everything you need to know to get started and grow and prosper as a flea market seller in your flea market this weekend. Are you ready to take action? I know I am, so let's get started. This is episode 2 of the Flea Market Guide Podcast. All right, folks, this is Corky Carricker, and this is episode 2 of the Flea Market Guide Podcast. Today I'll be interviewing Rob Stephenson from TheFleaMarketFlipper.com, and we'll be talking about how you can find fame, fortune, profit, and success, however you define it, in the business of buying products and flipping them for more money via flea markets and other channels. Without any further ado, let's get right into the interview with Rob from TheFleaMarketFlipper.com. Hey everybody, I'm here with Robert Stephenson from TheFleaMarketFlipper.com, and we're going to talk today a little bit about how you can get involved in an aspect of buying and selling at flea markets that many of you may not have tried yet. In fact, you've probably become aware of it by a television show, American Pickers, and if you've seen that show, you know it can be very exciting to go and look for very unique and unusual items or expensive collectibles and make a profit on them. So I found Robert, and Robert's been doing this for almost 20 years. So I'd like to have Robert tell you a little bit about what he's been doing and what this is all about, and then we'll get into some interesting questions that'll help you learn how you might get involved in flipping products for profit at the flea market. Hey Rob, how are you?
I'm great.
Awesome. So Rob, what is it exactly that picking is? And tell me about you and your business and how you got started with it and what the Flea Market Flipper site is all about and Flipper University, which we'll cover in a little bit.
Of course, yeah. First of all, thank you very much for having me on the show.
Thanks for being here.
Of course, I'm super excited. So, I've been doing this for roughly about 20 years. I started with my parents growing up had taught me how to fix, and we had gone to yard sales, flea markets, all kinds of stuff as a kid. And yeah, that's pretty much, I enjoy doing it. It's one of my passions is going and finding deals, finding good deals on pretty much anything I can. So, I've been doing it for roughly 20 years. I do flea markets. We do yard sales. We do all kinds of stuff that wherever we can find a good deal and turn it around and flip it and make some money. That's pretty much what we do.
So flipping, buying something low and selling it high is the holy grail of all sales. But you've got some particular tips and strategies. So, over at your website, Flea Market Flipper, which is how I discovered you, I found that site myself while looking into this topic. And then we've established a bit of a friendship, along the way. I kind of know what your business offers and what products you sell, not when you're flipping, but rather through your web business. Would you like to elaborate a little bit for us on what's available over at FleaMarketFlipper.com?
Of course, yeah. We try to take we offer a university, so we offer the information to take a normal person who's interested in going to the flea markets, going to yard sales, thrift stores, shopping on Craigslist, offer up those couple of those websites where you can get some good deals on used stuff. We try and incorporate all that and teach people how to look for some good deals, buy them low, and then be able to find the right venues to sell those deals. There's a lot of different venues, different ways to sell products, to sell used products. So we try to show you the best way to sell whatever items you're selling, how to find the best way to sell it. So that's pretty much it. Yeah, Flipper University, we have a couple different courses that we do offer on that, and that's what we do. We just try and teach people to get more familiar with using online sites, using the flea market, using yard sales, thrift stores, stuff like that to find good deals.
Okay, both to find deals and I would imagine also to sell them in some of those same venues.
Exactly.
Which is interesting because a lot of people miss that. You can buy things, say on Amazon.com on clearance, right? And then turn around a little while later when they're either sold out or not on sale anymore and sell them at full retail. So there's arbitrage involved as well. But I find the whole thing, just so fascinating, especially what I've seen on TV, and to have met you and know that you've done it now for 20 years, probably longer than those guys on TV. It's just amazing to me to learn all about what you have to offer. So along those lines, you've mentioned several times used products. And I want to ask, do you ever do anything that's new? Like I just sort of used the Amazon sale item example, and that may or may not have been right.
No, of course, yeah, and I the majority of what I do, I would probably say 80%, 70 to 80% is used items. I find good deals on, but no, I have done new items. Some of the vendors at my local flea market, they get their hands on new items, and sometimes I will go ahead and purchase those and then list them online for sale in the best venue that I can. So, for example, just recently I purchased 100 TVs. Flat screen TVs from the size 36 inch up to 75 inch. And they were brand new TVs, but they were broken in shipping. And I bought 100 of them, and then I turned around and resold them in a couple different venues and made quite a bit of money on it. So, but as for new good items, yeah, you'll run across deals. I don't do a lot on Amazon, buying stuff on Amazon and then storing it or selling it later. But there's definitely money to be made from Amazon to eBay to Amazon, that kind of stuff. Yeah, there's definitely good money that you can make when you know what you're doing. So
I think the takeaway there for me is that while you're probably going to find your best deals kind of out in the field, the way you see it on TV, these guys go out to sales, auctions, people's garages and barns and drive around the country. They look for these things in newspapers and wherever it might be. They could also, you could do this from home. You could actually kind of sit online and find things to flip, probably without ever leaving your house. So I feel like there's this huge opportunity for almost anyone to be able to participate in a business like this, no matter how young or old you are, no matter how much money you might have to start with. There's always something you could find to flip. Would you think that's true, or?
Of course, yeah. There's always and I don't do this full time. I probably work, I would say 5 to 15 hours a week. And my biggest thing is going to the flea market every weekend. I go every Saturday and Sunday. Sometimes I find deals and sometimes I don't, but, if shopping is what you love to find deals and you love to go out and shop at yard sales, flea markets, all that kind of stuff. And yeah, we can teach you, we can teach you the art of making some money on some used items and new items.
Okay. So, the next line of questioning that that I had prepared for you was about where you obtain products and where you sell them. And we've kind of talked about that already. And then, how what to pay for things and when things are worth something. So I was reading through your blog, which all of my listeners should go and do. Please do go check out Rob's site. There's a lot of cool information there just in his blog alone, never minding the courses that I'm sure get much, much deeper. One of the things that fascinated me was you would buy items. One in particular you had a picture of, and it caught my eye, and I remember trying to guess what it was. You had said on the blog, guess what this is. If you can imagine, if you can tell me what this is, you get a brownie or something. And so I looked at it, and I kind of got close, but I wasn't right. When you buy something, do you always know what it is?
Absolutely not. A lot of times, me personally, what I look for is stuff that I have no idea what it is, but it looks like it could be an expensive item. And a lot of times you kind of ask, where do you find out? I'll go on, I'll look on Amazon, I'll use Google. I'll try and find any model numbers, serial numbers on the items when I'm looking at them, to get as much back research that I can find, to figure out what exactly the item does, what it's used for, and try to get some idea of what a new value of it would cost.
Now, this may be part of your course, so if you want to say that this is something you'd rather save for your students, then let me know. But I'm curious, if you go out to a site and you're looking at a product and the seller's kind of standing there and you've got this weird machine in front of you or something, you don't quite know what it is, but it looks expensive. Do you get on your phone and start looking it up to try to figure out the value, or do you kind of sneak away and do that in the car or something and then come back?
Yeah, that's funny because different people have different ways of researching items. But I personally will look at the name, and then I'll walk down the aisle of the flea market. Usually the flea market, thrift store, wherever you're at, I'll walk away from the item and jump on my phone and see what I can find. Smartphones are definitely key nowadays. They help with a ton. I mean, you can just Google whatever you want to Google wherever you're at. But yeah, I don't typically sit there in front of the vendor or the seller and try and find information about it. I'll try and look at the name of it, the model of it, and then I'll walk away and type it into my phone and get some information, and then I'll come back. If it's a great deal, I'll come back and try and purchase it.
So don't show all your cards. A little stealth is helpful.
Exactly.
Okay. So that's great. So, all right, we've kind of covered what it is you do. You go out and you find unique items. You check to see that you can make a profit on them in some channel or venue, like online or offline, whatever it might be, wherever those items are being sold. And then if it's a win, if it looks like you can get it for a price that'll allow you to make money, you go back to the seller and negotiate your deal. So that sounds pretty straightforward, but it's probably not as easy as it sounds, because you can get out into a flea market. I know mine has over 300 vendors where my headquarters is, and I can walk through that place and see things, and I'll think they're really cool and maybe buy them and then find out nobody else in the world thought they were cool and there was nowhere to sell them. So that leads me to a big question. What's the coolest thing you ever flipped? Your favorite flip?
I've done quite a few weird and cool things. I probably would say my weird and cool. People will think it's very weird, but it is actually kind of cool too. But I purchased a prosthetic leg, titanium leg with a knee joint. And it's kind of weird, but I saw it at the flea market, and I ended up purchasing that for $30. I knew it looked really expensive.
The titanium is worth that, probably.
Exactly. I didn't even walk away. I didn't look it up. I just kind of, I knew it was worth the money. So I ended up buying it from the vendor, and I ended up selling that the next day. I listed it on eBay and had it sold within like 30 minutes for $1,000. So, I paid $30 for it and sold it on eBay the next day for, $1,000, $9.99 is what I usually, that's my typical, price on when I want to sell something for $1,000, $9.99, and it sold really quick. It made me great money, and it was very weird, and it was kind of cool. It was cool that the whole thing worked out like that.
I am astounded, and I'm kind of curious how many people are on eBay looking for artificial limbs, but especially the guy or a woman, in the case it may have been, that was the right height, because I would imagine that has to fit just right, and boy, that's a little weird. That is a weird flip.
It is.
And yet fascinating, because I'm guessing you're not a doctor, right? And you didn't know if this was, obviously titanium, it's probably modern technology, but it wasn't a pirate, wooden stick or anything like that.
Yeah, exactly. It had a knee joint. You could tell it looked expensive, but like I said, it's kind of crazy. But no, you just got to keep your mind open when you're out there to whatever you come across that looks weird. That's kind of what I do myself. So.
And I'm guessing that the flea market dealer who had it sitting in his booth probably had it a while, because what are the odds in a flea market with the amount of traffic that would get, that the right person would come along? But by taking that product and moving it to a different channel where there are millions of potential customers, it was an easy win. That's pretty cool.
Exactly.
So that may answer my next question, or maybe not. What's the most expensive thing that you ever bought and then flipped for a profit?
I would probably say the most expensive I purchased, and this is a larger item. I always dealt with some bigger. Well, not always, but I usually deal with some bigger stuff. I purchased a bobcat, a skid steer, like a heavy piece,
like a little backhoe kind of a thing.
Exactly.
Or,
I purchased one.
A bulldozer. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, no, not at all. No, it is. It's like a heavy piece of equipment. And I purchased it from a contractor who was going out of business. I purchased it for $3,500.
Wow.
I used it for a year. And then I ended up selling it for $9,500 after I used it at my property and around, I had a buddy who borrowed it a couple of times, but yeah, I used it and I sold it for $9,500. So that's probably one of my highest, single, purchases that I've done. Typically my normal investments, I like to stay, at anywhere from $10, up to $50. Occasionally I'll spend $200 or $300 on an investment, but I have to know that I can make some money on it.
Yeah, you want to minimize your risk, right? So the less you invest, the more opportunity you have to invest more often. However, that single flip from $3,500 to almost $10,000 is the holy grail in a way, because so many of us who pursue entrepreneurship or a solo business or a small business $10,000 is kind of a magic number. You've made it when you're making 120 grand a year, and you could do that once a month. I mean, suppose you